Poverty in the United States is viewed as a virus. There is widespread wealth, there's widespread poverty. What are we doing to actually alleviate poverty in America? Election cycle after election cycle, from all parties, from across the board, there's a lot of talk. There's sometimes a little action to alleviate poverty, but in reality, poverty still exists. I don't see any type of deep discussion and action as to how we can really alleviate poverty. From homelessness to income inequality to housing shortages to food deserts. There are communities that are still out there that are hurting that aren't being even addressed because poverty in America is viewed as a virus. It's stigmatized. And the very people who we expect to carry the torch into these sacred halls of government, organizations, businesses, minorities, are failing other minorities who are living on the margins. Those very privileged minorities do not realize that they are the other. They've accomplished a lot. Therefore, yes, it is their duty, their responsibility to help those who cannot help themselves. And sadly, that's something that's really plaguing the Black community, is that we say within the Black community, I got mine, you get yours. Well, sadly, we all have the same origins in the United States. We all stem from slavery. For some of us to have been raised above economic hardships, that's positive. But we have to carry that positive into the community. We have to carry that positive to these organizations and businesses and governments in order to make them, yes, make them do something to alleviate poverty. And it's not just one form, there are many forms of poverty. There are ways to address poverty, there are ways to actually alleviate poverty, and that's not really considered a problem in the United States. As long as you've got the show of wealth, the facade of wealth, then everything's fine. Artist Shaniqua Benitez had an exhibit last year in 2024 titled But It's Ours: The Red Line Between Poverty and Wealth. It examined those issues, and one thing that was really strong within this exhibit was the sense of resilience those who are living in poverty exhibit. Knowing that help is out there, knowing that they weren't receiving assistance and will not receive assistance from the powers that be, they're still strong. They're still very focused on maintaining their sense of self. And that's something that the quote unquote wealthy lack, a sense of self, because they have been assimilated into a status quo culture that could care less about them as individuals and more about how are you going to make this machine run efficiently. And it is through ignoring poverty, ignoring disparities in Black communities, in brown communities, in all communities that are not the status quo. It's going to take a serious discussion that should be somewhat modeled after a discussion that was held at Tate Britain, Rough Justice, that addressed these issues as well. We must view poverty in serious terms. We must have serious discussions on how we're going to alleviate poverty in America. Until that happens, there's going to be this chasm that's spreading wider and wider, that's going to lose people who are falling within that chasm and will never be heard from again. And is that what we want America, the United States of America, to be remembered as? A country that praised wealth, that really put on a pedestal the facade of wealth, when in reality the underbelly says otherwise. We have to do better, people. We're going to have to cross that red line and do things, do actual positive projects that will alleviate poverty, alleviate homelessness, income inequality, food deserts, etc., 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 in order to say, yes, we've accomplished something in our lifetime. And until next time, bye.